What's up, guys? I'm Ari,
And I'm Shaggy.
and you're watching the Shaggy and Ari Show.
Today we are going to be talking about a few things that affect us as Singaporeans. Namely, number one, everybody's favorite topic, SMRT and
SPH. What's happening to SPH?
what's happening to SPH, what's happening to SMRT. Maybe we can start with our favorite mode of transport here in Singapore, the trains.
Recently, in our previous show, we talked about how the train system got flooded in Singapore.
The epic failure that happened here in Singapore between I think Marina Bay or something all the way up to
Ang Mo Kio.
Ang Mo Kio. That's mad. That's some mad shit because there was flooding at the Bishan tracks.
So the follow-up to what had happened is the explanation part. Now all the leaders are trying to find what is the cause of all these mishaps that has been happening to SMRT and the tracks.
So they held a press conference sometime back. They had the Minister of Transport, Kobun Wan. Kobun Wan, right?
Yeah.
And they had the CEO of SMRT and also the chairman, if I'm not wrong.
The chairman.
And
The
that,
chairman is Sia Moon Ming.
and I find that press conference had a lot of mixed messages because the first thing is they said they wanted to take full responsibility for what happened at SMRT, but at the same time they were saying that they were diverting the blame to like the maintenance side at Bishan. They said the Bishan maintenance has failed us. So if you are taking responsibility,
Then it should be the whole company taking responsibility.
it's not like single out someone to say that, you know.
I find that it should be like there are some places that because of the initial infrastructure, initial build of the track system, it's quite hard to just blame it on the maintenance team to at places where naturally it doesn't how do I explain this?
What do you mean naturally?
Buildings after a while there are some places where you can't really detect leakages, or there are some very hard to reach areas that even the maintenance team wouldn't be able to see. Maybe they can maintain the tracks, maintain some cracks, but more than that, if there's seepages from unknown sources, I don't think the maintenance team should be blamed.
I think the issue here is that for the past couple of years or so, there have been so many problems that all of us Singaporeans face with regards to the MRT system. It got so bad that even when they launched a new system, which is the downtown line, they were doing a soft launch on Sunday, a few days back. And that train failed. The downtown line train to the east side of Singapore, it also failed. So I think the tolerance level of Singaporeans towards our SMRT system has been going down and down. You know, the thing is, SMRT used to be one of the things that we Singaporeans are proud of.
Yep.
And something that we used to always tell our friends from overseas that, this is the most reliable thing, something that everybody uses, something that everybody can boast about, be proud of, be a big part of. But now it has turned into like a failing system there, and nobody is taking responsibility. Everybody's pointing fingers here and there. I miss the days where we could just have a reliable ride on the SMRT.
But like I've mentioned in the previous episode, it can only go up from here. If there's always the downward and upward scale to everything, and in this case SMRT, they are looking into how to improve the maintenance aspect, and also improving the infrastructure to prevent this kind of things from ever happening again.
But
So-
you know, it's very weird because the whole conversation changed. Like we started off with something that we were all very happy about, we were proud of, and then it all slowly went down the drain, because they shifted their investment towards the retail side. I think we mentioned this on the last episode, where SMRT wanted to develop its retail capacity. But the core business has always been transporting people the most efficient and fast way. Efficient, fast, and safe. And they have been lacking in that part, which is very, very, very disappointing for all of us Singaporeans.
But what can we do?
It's
as
not. I
Singaporeans?
don't think it's something that we have to do. I don't understand why the typical everyday Singaporean is even given the task to solve this, because when we started out, it is a service that all of us use, and it is not something that we should be the ones fixing. I don't understand why suddenly, like, now that they are not doing well, suddenly the responsibility is shifted to us Singaporeans to behave a certain way, or like not complain or whatever. You know, I used to be quite patient about this, but it has reached to a point whereby I think it's too much already, because we have had a lot of trust on the system, and the system has failed us. And instead of trying to work on it, I mean, I'm not denying that they are working on it. They are telling us that they have workers, and the workers are also one of us Singaporeans. But I think it's a management level issue that should be solved by the management, not something that we can just say, the people the people below are the ones responsible. I think the management should come up with something more strategic to solve this. It's not on an operation level anymore. Yeah, so that part is quite disappointing lah.
I think it relates to, there was once upon a time in Singapore where flooding took place, like flash floods took place, and what they did was to cover up all the areas, the longkangs. What do you call longkangs?
The
Canals,
drain, the big drains, is it?
yeah, to cover it up, to prevent leaves and rubbish and whatnot from
Really?
entering inside. Yeah, there are a few areas in Singapore that are flood prone and they have been covered, and Singaporeans were also unhappy about that, and somehow it improved, and I feel a bit, I feel optimistic that it can only go up from here. There are some unforeseen things that can happen in a management and whatever, but I'm pretty sure that things are gonna improve lah.
I think what will make people happy is when the management level for SMRT shows an example, prove to us that they are committed to make this change that you're talking about happen. Because right now, what we see from the public's point of view is just finger pointing. And I mean, it's just saying sorry for the sake of saying sorry. I have to say that we don't see action being taken. That's why I feel the public, which is us, feel that not enough is being done to address the issues that we are all facing together here, as a nation.
Yeah, I share with what you're feeling right now. Like I should quote a few from Mr. Corbun 1, where it's a flooding system that is so simple that even engineers learning in schools are able to solve it easily, and it's embarrassing. There's a few other comments that he placed during the dialogue, and
I don't know, man.
This
The
kind
thing,
of-
the thing that I don't like is the approach in which they did the press conference. Like I mentioned earlier, it feels more like a blame game. Like, oh, our workers are not doing enough. Our workers are not working hard enough. But I think as a leader, when you, especially for a public institution, as a leader, when you push your responsibility back to your men, it doesn't reflect well on you, lah.
well, I think it's to the point where you promise. Okay, it happened once, like a train fall and whatever, and it happened again and again and again
Yeah.
and again, and the leaders now, they don't really know how to solve the problem.
Well, the thing is,
they need
there's
some
another
time.
there's another level. Excuse me. There's another level in this situation whereby these leaders that we have in Singapore are paid very well, but yet they are not proving their worth to the public, at least. Maybe they are proving their worth behind closed doors or in their day-to-day work, but they are not proving their worth to us in the way they perform on the public stage. I wish that SMRT goes back to the level when it was many years ago, maybe a decade ago. Is that something that I cannot get anymore? I don't know. It's very sad because back in the day, right, we used to compare ourselves to the best systems. But these days, for SMRT, for example, we are saying things like, other countries have it worse. This country we are comparing with the worst countries instead of the best. I think the thing about Singapore that makes it go to the level that we are today is because we are a tiny nation, but we always stand toe to toe with the biggest and the best countries in the world. And that's what Singapore is all about, going toe to toe with the best.
So who are the best right now?
So we're talking about maybe when SMRT first established, we got engineers from Germany, we got engineers from Japan to share with us how they established their metro train system to be of a very high standard. That's how Singapore has always been doing our work. And what we did is, when we wanted to establish something, we bring the best people from the best industries overseas to come to Singapore to share their knowledge and to train our own people to attain their level. And from there, Singapore will grow as a result. And I think what we did recently is we kind of slacked off a bit, and now the cracks are really opening up. So for example, you want to talk about like other public transport services that are going from strength to strength, getting better and better. We're talking about our bus system. If you realize our Singaporean bus system has improved, I think both of us, we take more buses than trains.
Yeah, but how I see it is that the train tracks and the underground tunneling system is inside a tunnel. So if you're comparing it to buses, there is a machine that can be replaced and maintained easier than a tunneling system that is aging. And
But
if
the
you wanna
tunnel, no, it's not a tunneling system that is failing. It's the trains that are failing. The only time that the tunnel got into trouble is recently. The reason why the tunneling system got into trouble is because they never maintained the water pumps that help to remove the water from the tunnel. It's not that the tunnel failed, you see. It's the pumps failed.
Okay.
So talking about, like, even when you're talking about the tracks, right? They actually spent, I think 3 to 4 years ago, they were improving the tracks, if you remember.
Yeah.
They were redoing everything, and that one done. And now we are back here. So like, what I'm saying is, we go back to the bus system in Singapore. What we did is we opened up our bus system, we used to only have two bus operators, two big bus operators for public buses,
SMRT and
SMRT and SPS Transit, and then we opened it up to two more companies, Tower Transit and what's the other one? Tower Transit and Go Ahead Singapore. So after they opened up the bus contracting model to improve it, to open it up to more private companies, I see that the services have improved because you have 4 private companies competing with each other on levels of performance, timeliness, performance like including timeliness, and the quality of the service that they provide. And another thing that they improve is the way they take care of their staff, because now you have 4 companies and all of them have to compete in retaining staff, getting the best staff, paying the staff better. So that is the thing. If you are willing to improve, you will. And that has happened with our bus services. So I don't understand why SMRT is going through this situation whereby we are going in loops and loops and loops. Why is it like that? I don't understand, like, why. You know, now when I take the train, right, it is so sad for me. Now that I take the train, I half expect it to
Fail.
screw up. Yeah. That's not the kind of mentality we should have. That's not what Singapore is about. Singapore is about high levels of efficiency. I think a lot of people would disagree with me that, you know, like, oh, you know, Singapore, we should slow things down, but that's what Singapore is about. If we can't compete in that area, then how are we going to keep marching forward as a nation? If you know, we have come to the level whereby we expect the train to fail. We have even prepared, like for example, for national examinations, O levels, PSLE, we already prepare for the trains to fail by preparing the students to have nearby examination centers in case the trains fail. I think that's not something that we should accept as a normal thing. We should move on and we should try and improve the system instead of accept that it's not good. That's not the Singaporean way, you know?
I think that's true. I have to agree with you. Yeah, it's a disappointment, but I still feel that because of this, things can only improve. What else can happen?
Well, the thing, I used to have the same mentality as you and say that, you know, we can't be unappreciative as Singaporeans. We have to be a bit more appreciative. You know, there are people working. Everybody's working on it. SMRT has actively put up. They spend money to get designers to create posters to tell us to be more patient. You know, that they're working on it and things like that.
Why not divert the money to doing revamping your business model?
Because there's no competition. It's simply that's the way, because they are all so comfortable. I'm not talking about the ground staff, I'm talking about the management level. They are so comfortable drawing beautiful amounts of salary working on SMRT that they don't feel the need to make it better or anything like that. I bet they don't even take the train.
Maybe
that's the problem.
Maybe when their position as a company is threatened by a new train system, a new train company, then they will realize that they should be doing something more.
I think that is the case in most of Singapore's agencies nowadays. I realize the government is slowly privatizing parts of the Singaporean public service machine so that private companies can compete in the open market. When we talk about competition, it's not just about competing on getting the best customers. It's also it's not only competing to get the best market share. They're also competing on getting the best staff.
Mm-hmm.
So that way, people are always trying to improve the way they do things so that everybody is happy. Everybody meaning the people who are receiving the service are happy, and the people who are hired to provide the services are happy. So that is the good thing about Singapore that I noticed so far. The bad thing is SMRT is the one lagging behind. Just so happens and also because SMRT affects so many of us here in Singapore, so it's quite glaringly obvious that they are not doing what to the level that all of us are expecting. We shouldn't get used to low levels of service. That's something that we shouldn't.
Maybe with this tragedy, there comes an opportunity for someone out there that can build up a company and maybe do a better train system compared to SMRT, just like how Circles Life is doing in the mobile industry, telco industry, challenging StarHub, Singtel, M1, providing a better service. So that's how the current services are trying to get back at Circles Life.
That's the thing, right? Another example is your telcos. When you open up the remember My Republic wanted to come in also?
There was a time where they made it like it's impossible for you to have a lot of data. Like it's something that cannot be achieved at all. Therefore, all the three companies
They agreed
to decrease the data, and for a few years we were
paying much more for we were forced to spend a lot of money to pay them to accept. That's the thing. When you open up, when you have other people come in and disrupt, or when you open up the market and let more people compete, you get this kind of thing. And now, as a response, our three main telcos, your StarHub, Singtel and M1, they have to open up and come up with their own unlimited data plans or give us more data. Because they know if they don't do this, they're going to lose out to Circles Life, and they are slowly losing out to Circles Life. And Circles Life, knowing that the three main telcos are responding to their threat, Circles Life is opening another they are opening another offer, which is to let people try Circles Life before committing to it. That's the beauty of competition.
And we compare that to the bicycle rental services in Singapore, namely O-Bikes, OFO, Mobikes. Now OFO is coming out with October whole month free, providing a seat that is adjustable, very easy to adjust the height, gearing system, the LED lights behind are flickering, better lighting system in front, better payment, no deposit. That's how you challenge and bring about a much more vibrant vibrant market.
Yeah. So the thing is, why SMRT is lagging behind, I feel. But SBS is also a train provider, right?
Yeah, but it's just like the mobile telcos.
Oh yeah, because they have been in the industry for so long.
Then
they are all friends. They are mutual understanding.
Probably even the employees are
interchangeable. They quit one and go to the other one.
Yeah. So there must be a new guy coming in with fresh new ideas. I hope it's gonna happen soon in Singapore. Who knows?
And I think the impulse for Singaporeans is always to seek the authority or the government to solve our problems. But the fact is, the best way to solve problems, if you realize in a modern society or in a democratic society, in a capitalist society, is to open up the arena to more players. When more players come in, they will start competing with the status quo, and then they'll start coming up with new things that are interesting to the people.
So maybe if you want to ask the government to help, maybe threaten, this is just another idea lah, maybe threaten some routes that are currently holding by SMRT to be taken by a new company. Because I'm going at it in a different perspective, because the tunneling system is quite expensive to do. You need to get a lot of approval, and buying trains is not.
So what they did with just to share with you, so what they did with the bus public transport in Singapore, right, is that LTA repossessed excuse me, LTA repossess all the buses.
Huh.
So all the buses in Singapore are actually owned under LTA.
Okay.
And LTA leases the buses off to companies.
Oh, so that's why all the buses are from the same make.
Yeah, that's why they
Scania
are the same model,
nowadays.
and they are, because now the buses are all under LTA or
Oh,
under the
okay, that
government, a
explains it.
government body. So maybe in the same vein, maybe I don't know, maybe they could do that because
can take over all
you're
the
talking about
routes.
like the infrastructure, right?
Yes,
The
correct.
infrastructure is owned by the government,
Okay.
but the ones running the show are private companies. So that's how you improve
Maybe the
things.
companies can be. Another idea is owning different routes in the train system.
But I do agree with you that it is quite a different beast, our
Train
mass
system.
rapid train system, because there's tracks and
There's more
all
things
that.
involved, actually.
There's more infrastructure involved, so it's a bit different. But at the same time, I always believe that when there's more competition, more people will be innovative. Again, we're talking about innovation, and everybody stands to win at the end of the day. Be it consumers, be it workers, and the nation as a whole, we are going to enjoy like better services.
Actually, if there's no one challenging the train system now, if I were to be an SMRT employee, I wouldn't feel good to put up a resume if I want to change job, for example. Oh, you work from SMRT.
Yeah, and then the SMRT got very bad.
Then it's like I'm an engineer for a train system. Then there's no other train system apart from
Right.
SBS.
Yeah,
So
you got no
for the
choice.
workers, there's no choice. You have
There's not much you can do.
Yeah. So if there is another challenge, probably the new Singapore to KL system is by another company. Then they have a better system. Then people will start comparing and innovating new ideas.
No, that's the thing about competition lah. Everybody wins, because everybody is always trying to like make it more attractive. You know, make their companies more attractive. Then the management has no choice but to make their company much more viable for both consumers and workers. Make it more attractive and better packages.
I think if you go back to the human, being human, is that when your life is threatened, then you do something, then suddenly you become smart and intelligent.
Yeah. Then suddenly you take more effort to make things better. I think I think this mentality has come from the previous ways of living, whereby you work hard when you're young, and then when you're older you can relax. But the world has come to a point where you can't do that anymore. You must always improve yourself. You must always be on top of your game. If not, you're gonna lose out. And some people might not like it, but that's the world that we're living in right now.
To be honest, I wouldn't like it as well. Cause
I mean, it's not fun that you always have to keep working, but I think the world the way it is right now,
that's
you have
how
to earn your right to live. Now,
never stop being hungry, guys.
yeah,
Never stop being hungry.
and that leads me to the next topic.
Yep.
Of today's show, which is SPH, Singapore Press Holdings.
What happened to them actually?
So Singapore Press Holdings recently cut out quite a substantial amount of staff. I don't remember the numbers, but let me see.
There's a lot of retrenchment.
Yeah, so they retrenched quite a few people.
Ironic, SPH is Straits Times under SPH.
Yeah, Singapore is under SPH.
But they are also reporting on this.
Oh, they're reporting. No. L. Really? Oh, yeah, they are. That's a bit stupid. So the way they retrenched the people was not good, because they just simply
About
cut people off
130.
their online access.
About 130.
130. What's the
Retrenched
total?
last Thursday as part of restructuring efforts.
Right. That's just the first batch, by the way.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Just imagine, after sacrificing your life in a particular company and they just chop up your head. But it's part of the restructuring efforts, right? Isn't that part of innovation?
That's maybe. But at the same time, I feel that the reason why SPH has to do this kind of things is because I think they realize that they are losing their relevance.
Yeah, you were mentioning about how you use newspapers.
Yeah, so I just moved into my new house and then I realized that I need to buy newspapers. Not to read the newspaper, but I wanted to use the newspaper to use as a mat so that I can eat on top of the newspaper, so that when I eat, my crumbs don't fall on the floor. Or I want to use the newspaper to wipe like glass and my windows and mirrors. We have come to the stage as a society, right, that the physical newspaper, the purpose of a physical newspaper is no longer for information, but more for the use of the physical item to
It's like, for example,
do
jobs.
our chores.
The job section of the newspaper. People, I don't know, but for myself, I would rather go on different websites to showcase my resume or find new jobs compared to going to jobs by the newspaper.
And by saying this, we are not saying that the whole of Singapore doesn't need newspapers anymore. I'm just saying that when you look forward, you realize that newspapers are not as relevant as they used to be. When you look back, of course, certain things are more important in the newspaper. Let me tell you some of the things that physical newspapers and magazines used to do.
Mm-hmm.
Number one, I think they still do this, which you mentioned, which is to job listings, classified ads, commercials, like a whole page full of companies advertising their services, like contractors and all that for people who are doing homes, property agents.
Yeah.
You know, there's another thing that what Facebook has replaced: personals. Do you remember personals in newspapers?
Yeah.
People used to advertise themselves in the newspaper to look for dates so that they can hook up. Now you don't even you are on Tinder. You don't even use Facebook anymore. You know, and it has. I mean, let me ask you guys: do you still read newspapers, or do you get your news from your friends sharing on Facebook, on like sites such as Mothership, The Independent? Some people might even go to I forgot the name of the website, like Alternative News. I think a lot of Singaporeans agree that they don't like reading the official news anymore, and they are more interested in looking at independent publications.
You know what's ironic? Here at Paradise Pictures, Shaggy is he's very proud and very happy to see our our work on the newspaper.
That's true.
And I was myself very happy when I found out that my auntie, who reads the newspaper, happens to read the section where I spoke to Madam Halimah Yaakob.
Oh, she saw that?
Yeah, she was like, "Hey Hari, I saw it there during Hari Raya, the newspaper and whatever." So there are still some relevance to SPH, but I think there needs to be something. I think what had happened was the direction and how they told the story. It's not really that appealing compared to.
I think SPH as an institution is still important to disseminate information. So a lot of people say that our mainstream media in Singapore is too close to the government, and that might be true, but there is still a purpose to having this kind of thing, because there are certain things that the government needs to tell us, and through SPH, I believe it is a way for them to do that. But at the same time, again, we are talking about innovation and competition. If you don't have competition and if you are too comfortable, you tend to create things that are not relevant. Where is the money coming from?
The
How are
thing
they
is-
sustaining their business?
The thing is, that is the reason why they released 130 personnels. Because they realize that they are not relevant anymore. They need to do something about it.
If I'm not wrong, the people that they release are all the younger people, you know.
Huh, seriously?
Yeah, they're not the older people. They kept the older
Why?
people.
For what?
So I don't know. That's the thing, right? It's the junior staff that have to leave first.
But to be honest, from my experience during one of the talks with Halimah Yaakob at the time about the community or whatever, so the SPH was there, and they took my
We were
picture.
at SPH.
Yeah. So as in like the photographer for SPH was there, and how he conducted the whole thing was old school actually.
Oh, you're saying that? Yeah, that's the thing. When you don't have innovation, when you are too high on the food chain, you don't feel the need to create or innovate or do your work in a better way. It's like us. You see, both of us, like, we exist on YouTube, and because we are not like super comfortable at a certain level, we keep coming out with new things, we keep trying to improve the way we present our show and all that. Can you imagine if we are handsomely paid and we don't have to worry about audience retention? Somebody else is going to take care of that for us. I don't think we would make as much effort to create something that is worth watching as much as we are trying now. I mean, I'm not saying that we are doing the best work in the world, but at least we are trying. We're moving forward every single episode, trying to be more and more relevant to the audience and to bring something to you. So if you look, let's remove the whole idea of government in Singapore for a while, and maybe you go back to the bands, music. Maybe talk about the bands that you like. When the bands that you like, or the musicians that you like, they always start off with like the first 2 or 3 albums are awesome, and like they make the best stuff, and then they establish their name as musicians. And then after they establish their name as musicians, you start to realize that their creativity starts to
Have a plateau.
yeah, there's a plateau, and slowly you will lose interest in the bands and musicians, and then you will move on to someone else. Yeah, I think that's the thing that's not fun about life. That if you don't improve or change or come up with something new, then you're gonna lose out in the big picture, because there's always someone else out there who will come in and change everything. I think this idea of innovation relates back to us as people who are working people. If you don't improve the way you do your work at your workplace, how can you expect your employer to promote you or give you a better salary? You know, if you think that you reach a certain level and then you can chill.
Actually, I would like to share something about how a company. I think most probably a lot of people out there already know, but here's what I want to share lah. People have the misconception that when you are employed into the company, after some time you prove your worth, then you get your confirmation. Then from confirmation you get a higher salary. Then from there, after working for quite some time, you've been promoted. So when you're promoted, your salary increases. Actually, that's not the way companies should do. In my opinion, when you are awarded the job, you are already being paid. So that's number one. So you need to prove yourself to number two, the next one. So when you are given a higher status and your salary doesn't increase, don't fret. Don't think that this company, I have to do more work again. Actually, when you are given that promotion, you have to prove your worth, that you deserve that promotion in rank and as well as salary. So that drives the employers to innovate new ideas. As in, that drives the employees to innovate new ideas. You have to keep on proving to yourself, proving to the employers, instead of, okay, I have a promotion, therefore I deserve this, and my work stays the same. So a different perspective, instead of promotion equals to salary increase. Actually, promotion, probation, then salary increase.
I think that's the thing, like, it's all about mentality. We are so used to being given, and you feel that you deserve something. It's more of an entitlement thing. Actually, you're not really entitled to whatever it is. You have to, everything that you get in your life, you have to earn.
Yeah.
And
There's always that door, but you have to prove to others or to open the door.
Yeah.
It's not like people open the door for you and all you have to do is walk through. You have to open the door yourself.
It's quite funny, So, like, for example, I guess what SPH just did was just a casualty of their efforts to improve their services. Then they have to cut some stuff. But actually, maybe they are moving in a new direction. And cutting off or retrenching people might not be the worst thing in the world, because first thing, when you're retrenched, you're being paid your monthly salary times the amount of years you have spent there. So there is a compensation that you get when you're being retrenched. One. Number two, your experience that you have made in SPH, you can apply it on, because now we have so much competition. There are so many people out there who need writers and all that. You can apply your skills there, I guess.
So I think in the end, even though there is a sad moment for workers that has been retrenched by SPH, it's going to drive SPH into a new direction. So I really hope that SPH improves in due time.
And for the retrenchees or the people who have been retrenched, they can also innovate and find a new way to make a living as writers.
Just think of it as including yourselves in SPH in your resume.
Yeah.
And actually, SPH is not doing, as in, they're actually doing quite well. Legitimate news source. So it's actually better than putting SMRT inside.
I think SMRT I think SPH is just going to create a new way to improve itself. I don't know lah. We gotta wait and see. As with anything.
So actually, I wanted to share about something that happened recently in Singapore. This will be our last topic for today. It's the counter-terrorism. Oh my god, counter-terrorism effort. The exercise
that they did at the airport.
Yeah, which is here. It's a bit noisy. Oh my goodness. And I applaud the security personnel for doing a good job in displaying our defense.
Some might argue that all these counter-terrorism exercises are just wayang. But what do you think about that? What do you think of people who make those kind of comments that it's just wayang or?
If you just read the normal comment section on Facebook for these articles, a lot of them compared SMRT downfall or breakdown to the counter-terrorism efforts.
They're saying things like, why are you doing all these counter-terrorism exercises when the SMRT can't even be fixed, right?
Yeah, it's like there are two different entities, dude. Yeah, so even though one thing is going down, it doesn't mean that everything else have to pick. Like, you imagine the army or police, SCDF, trying to find solution for SMRT breakdown. Doesn't make sense.
No.
So I think I applaud the security personnel for doing a good job, a good display. This is a good effort to show potential terrorists out there that
Don't mess with us.
don't mess with us. We are ready for you. And also to keep pushing the security personnel to innovate new ideas, relook at your discipline, SOPs, and not avoiding all the cracks or all the small little minor things. Practice your stuff.
And at the same time, I believe that our Ministry of Home Affairs, security forces, they have to practice in a real life location. They must practice at public places, because at the end of the day, when an attack happens, it happens in a public place. So that's the reason why they have to do it in such places instead of like a simulation location that they built for their
It's
practice.
just not practical, I guess.
Like recently, they did a drill. They did an SAF exercise at the old Rocho estate, the colourful blocks. I think there's a reason why they did that, because at the end of the day, when there's a threat, it will happen in a public place,
Dense
like that,
population.
in a dense population. So they have to practice it there. It's not for show. It's not for wayang. I mean, there is another
There is
layer.
a wayang factor.
The wayang factor is to tell the potential aggressors that we are prepared. The other factor is they have to practice it in a public place at the end of
In
the
a
day.
more relevant place.
Yeah, to be relevant to the threat that they are facing.
Yeah. So I think it's good lah. Just imagine being one of the personnel doing a great job there. Then they are able to, you as a security personnel, I can imagine that back in NS, you keep practicing by yourself. Maybe in the army you do whatever war stuff that you have to do, and you are practicing among yourselves. But then you're not practicing it with another organization, another army, or even in Singapore, if you don't practice within the three SCDF, SPF, and the army together, if you're not integrating and practicing a lot, then you'll be not relevant, I guess. Yeah, so I have nothing bad to say about that. That's actually a good thing. I'm very happy to see our boys doing a good job there.
There might be women there though.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I forgot. Yep.
There might be women in the forces also.
So thank you very much, guys, for doing a good job. I'm very happy to see you all practicing your work. I feel safe. I think
that's the thing lah. If we don't let me relate this back to SMRT, the first topic that we had. When you have all these security drills, again, is a prevention. If you don't do a prevention, the problem with prevention is like, I'll say this again, it's like antivirus. You don't, it seems like you have to spend resources, time, money to do prevention. Like how SMRT supposed to do a lot of maintenance, spend money, spend time on their maintenance or preventive measures. And when you are doing your preventive measures, it always seems costly, wayang, or it always seems like it's a waste of time. But when trouble
when
comes,
shit happens.
you wish that you prepared.
Yeah.
So I want to leave with that message lah. When it comes to all these security exercises, it's a prevention. It seems frivolous. It seems like a waste of time, a waste of resources. It might even seem like wayang to some of us. But when something bad eventually happens, you don't want to be unprepared. You don't want to be caught with your pants down. Just like how SMRT right now, or for the past few years, have been caught with their pants down because there was just one period of their time where they scrimped on maintenance, and now they are paying for it.
Yep.
The rest of Singapore cannot be doing that. Anyway,
Always ready. Radio strike!
That's you. So anyway, thank you for watching. If you have any views about your experiences with SMRT that you might want to share with us and how you really feel about it, and also if you are having like thoughts about how Singapore's mainstream media can improve itself, do let us know.
And I would like to wish everyone a happy Deepavali because we filmed this. Probably we're gonna see it tomorrow, but happy Deepavali anyway. It's a public holiday, time for us to rest midweek.
And you're not resting, but it's okay.
But I still enjoy my day today.
So
I'll see you guys next week. I'm Ari.
and I'm Shaggy. Thank you so
You're
much.
watching Shaggy and Ari Show.
Bye.
See ya!